Same dish, different recipes. From the most iconic to the most controversial, we're gonna try it. And today we're trying a dish which calls Italy its home, but every country has an own version of. Spaghetti, spaghetti, and spaghetti na may hot dog. Our first recipe for today is from one of my favorite content creators, Ninong Ry, and it caught our attention because it requires 12 hours of cooking. Sana all maraming time. Let's go! Woo! Like Ninong Ry, we're gonna take out the big wok for this one. We're doing a third of his recipe, but don't underestimate the quantity. He sautés a lot of garlic first, very Pinoy, and white onions. But we filmed this when white onions were the new gold, so red ones will have to do. In goes 1 kilo of ground beef, seasoned and deglazed with fish sauce and red wine. Add celery and carrots to complete the sofrito, which is common in traditional bolognese, but with the addition of bell peppers that will add natural sweetness to the sauce. Marry them all together before adding tomato paste. Ninong Ry toasts this to tame the acidity before the final installment of red wine, dried herbs, thyme and rosemary, and water before covering and simmering for 12 whopping hours. The result, a thick, ultra-rich meaty sauce with flavor you won't get elsewhere. Now, you don't serve this as is. Instead, like what restaurants would do, it's used as a base for every order of spaghetti wherein you finish cooking the pasta with the sauce. Ninong Ry seasons with more fish sauce, a splash of pasta water to loosen it up and bind everything together, a touch of brown sugar to satisfy the Filipino palate, and butter to emulsify everything and add a bit of shine. Finally, he garnishes this with grated Parmesan and a drizzle of olive oil. Visually, this looks something you would get in a restaurant or in a hotel. It looks saucy, it has the greens, it has the reds, may drizzle pa ng olive oil, but very social. Yung technique na slow cooking for 12 hours, it's usually done when you're using chunky pieces of meat. But in this case, it's ground meat. You would think it kind of doesn't make sense. But when you taste this kind of dish, mararamdaman mo na yung pag low cook, pag simmer sa kanya ng sobrang tagal, it helps all the flavors like marry each other. So good. Our next recipe is a Pinoy-style spaghetti from Chef Tatung of Simpol. And it's different from the others because it has 1 can of condensed milk and banana ketchup. Let's try spaghetting. Simpol, simpol, luto na, ha, ha. Chef Tatung starts his sauce the same way. Sauté garlic first, then onion. However, he uses a combination of ground pork and ground beef, which will not only save you money, but will give the sauce a more complex flavor. Chef Tatung seasons this with fish sauce before adding store-bought Filipino-style spaghetti sauce, a pre-seasoned and sweet type of tomato sauce. He combines this with banana ketchup that will give the sauce some tang and a redder color. Now, time for the Italians to turn their heads away because we're gonna add condensed milk. It adds creaminess and takes the sweetness to a whole new level. Chef Tatung melts in grated processed cheese by guilty pleasure, seasons with salt and black pepper, and finally adds in sliced Filipino hot dog. This is mixed directly on the plate with cooked spaghetti, as generous of a serving as you want, topped with more cooked hot dogs and cheese. From the looks of it, sobrang nostalgic agad. Alam mo yung orange na spaghetti na inaabot sa'yo ng kapitbahay mo pag may handaan sila. Parang ganon. To me, this is a very distinct version of spaghetti. Nangingibabaw talaga yung tamis. And I like it. Our last recipe for today is from none other than Vincenzo's Plate, an Italian content creator who shares how Italians do their dishes traditionally. And hindi natin papalagpasin yung spaghetti episode ng walang input ni Vincenzo's Plate. And the difference between this dish from the other ones we've created is this is very simple and it honors the ingredients, very few ingredients, which is basil, cherry tomatoes, and pecorino. So kung sanay tayo sa matamis na spaghetti, today we're also gonna try how Italians do it. Let's go! Vincenzo starts with extra virgin olive oil in a hot pan and grates 2 cloves of garlic, allowing it to instantly release its delicious garlic flavor. Shortly after, add in sliced cherry tomatoes, a small and sweet type of tomato. Season this with salt and pepper, and a few pieces of fresh basil. Now to make the sauce smoother, Vincenzo takes out the basil and gives the tomatoes a few pulses in the food processor. And you gotta have that discipline from blending this into a smooth sauce because you want to retain that chunky texture from the sweet cherry tomatoes. Now bring it back to heat and finish cooking your pasta in the sauce with some more fresh basil, pasta water, and extra virgin olive oil. Serve this by twirling the spaghetti into your plate. Vincenzo garnishes this with more fresh basil and grated pecorino romano. I cannot wait to try this, but it seems to be missing something. And finally, we're gonna top it off with some hot dogs. From the looks of it, it looks super simple. There's just a few ingredients here, yung tomatoes, the pecorino, the fresh basil. It's super light. It's also kind of sweet, and you get that iconic acidity from the tomatoes. This is something that I would crave if I want a light spaghetti. But I don't think a lot of people would appreciate this, especially in the Philippines where we grew up eating the sweet type of spaghetti. But this is spaghetti in its simplest form, and you just couldn't go wrong with this. I think this episode is really interesting because all 3 recipes, to me, are good. Kung bata ako, feeling ko, mas prefer ko itong recipe ni Chef Tatung, yung sweetness, yung hot dog. It's very nostalgic. And as I grow older, when I got the chance to try fast food, restaurant meals, doon ko na appreciate yung lasa ng very meaty, bolognese style na spaghetti. But now, at this point of my life, when I've become more health conscious, I want something lighter, I want something simple na mas na-appreciate ko yung few ingredients in a dish, I prefer this one, kay Vincenzo's. So that would be my ranking. Vincenzo's, Ninong Ry's, and Simpol's. But don't get me wrong, I would still eat all of them. Pag may nagbigay sa akin ng matamis na spaghetti, I would devour it. And as I've said before, there are a lot of styles of spaghettis out there. So I'm really curious, ano ba yung gusto nyong style ng spaghetti? Comment it down below. And kung may gusto rin kayong makita na recipes na itatry namin in the next episodes, feel free to drop them all in the comments.